Should animals and insects have rights? The reason I say this because I was reading a book on philosophy. It was called The Quest for Truth, and that was one of the topics there. Those who would advocate the rights of animals and insects will respond by saying that animals and insects have a ability to suffer and feel pleasure. There are lots of things to consider before wanting to give animals and insects rights of not to suffer or die. Number one, its limits. Number two, do humans lose their rights to give and non human rights? Number three, is it biblical for animals, insects, and plants to suffer for the sake of humans? I will try to answer these together since I believe they could be answered that way. Where does those limits stop and how far does it go? If I have termites in the house, shall I violate my rights to live in a home for the sake of the termites so they could eat my home? If I have roaches in my house and they are being fruitful and multiplying and replenishing my house, should I not stop them by exterminating them before one of them gets into my ear, nose, or mouth or licks me while I'm sleeping? Should I let mosquitoes, bedbugs, spiders bite me as much times as they want to when they are hungry because I do not wish to destroy those rights? Should I let rats in my house survive knowing what kind of diseases they may bring to my family and myself, and furthermore, even kill my family due to a bite of a rat? Should I let myself stay sick and die due to the fact that I do not desire to hurt or destroy a bacteria that is doing me wrong? Should I eat fruits and vegetables, or should I refrain from eating them? Since if a banana or apple falls to the ground, it looks like it gets bruised and it might feel pain. Should I avoid any medical breakthrough to heal my cancer or the cancer of my dog because I do not desire animals to be used as experiments in order to heal other humans and animals? I do not agree with animals being used for the purpose of cosmetics. I also do not agree with major factories, farming factories, caging up chickens in closed, tight areas and cutting off their beaks. But one thing I do know, not all pain and suffering is bad. For for someone to survive, another living creature or thing must suffer. The lion, in order to feed her cubs, kills another animal to survive. Fishes eat smaller fishes and insects like worms to survive. In the Garden of Eden, an innocent animal had to die in order for Adam and Eve to be clothed. Sacrifices of innocent animals had to be done in the Old Testament in order for the worshiper not to be punished for their sins. Jesus had to suffer and die so Christians could receive forgiveness of sins. A animal, a vegetable, a fruit must suffer so humans can be nourished. While it is true that some pain and sufferings from animals and insects could and should be avoided, not all pain and suffering is bad if it serves a greater purpose and cause. Think of the breakthroughs of medications which were due to animal experimentation. This has caused good for both animals and humans. Think of the caterpillar before he becomes a butterfly and suffering he must go through to make it, or a woman or a woman in birth pains before she has a child. Suffering and pain could be a beautiful thing if and only is done for a greater purpose. Animals getting killed for humans to survive is a good thing. Clothing and food is brought about. But killing animals for sport, fun, for hunting, just for show, for furniture, or in a person's house, I do not agree with. And I believe this is why many of the animals are perishing for the abuse of these things. God gave man the earth to protect it and live from it, but not to abuse it. You may say war is a bad thing, but war could also be a good thing if it is used for a greater cause. Say that a tyrant like Hitler is in power, one who killed 6 million Jews, and not to mention many who was not, and sought to take over the world. Do such person deserve to stay in power? Won't war in such cases be a good thing, even if it brings a little bit of suffering? One's lives would probably have to die for their country, so others would be safe. Think of a person with a real bad diabetes that needs insulin to survive. Well, insulin comes from pigs, whose right should be broken in such cases. Is it better for a human to die or an animal in such cases? An animal should be the response. Here, suffering, well, is used to serve a greater cause. A pig must die so they could give insulin to someone else, or that person would die because of diabetes. The same cause could be mentioned with those who are suffering from thyroids. Their medication contains thyroids of other animals to help their thyroids. Humans, according to the Bible, are greater than animals because when they were created in God's very own image. Animals were not created in God's image. Will you let your child die of a disease which needs a medication where an animal needed to be killed to help your son or daughter? Aren't you taking the rights of a human, aka your child, and give it to your animal if you say that animals shouldn't suffer? The problem with animal rights is this: it affects human rights. Those who would defend animal rights to an extreme will have to take away human rights. Should we imprison a spider for eating other insects? Or imprison lions and tigers and bears for eating to survive? Should we put each species of fishes in different tanks so they would not eat the other one? What about those fishes which eat their own species? Why not take their rights away from them as well, as they intend to do with humans? For if animal has rights, then the human has no rights. Should we offer animals SSI and welfare income, or credit cards, or Medicaid? Would they pay their loans on time? Would they know how to use their EBT cards when they go to the market? Should we move to the moon and move every animal to his own planet, but make sure you have enough vegetation in each for those planets for all these animals to survive? Would it work out? No, because this planet is the only one with life, so we all have to deal with it, and we all have to kill to survive to some extent. If carnivores would be separated from the other kind of animals, they will eat themselves to survive. So these are things to think about. If animals has rights, the way many people want to give them rights, it will take away human rights. God bless you, and I'll see you next program of Getting to Know Jesus.